To this now, rolling blackouts come as matric students are writing their final exams. Our reporter Monique Mortlock is checking how pupils are coping in Cape Town and now joins us. Monique, I understand you spoke to some learners and a principal this morning. What was the principal's take on the current load shedding?
He made an impassioned plea to Minister Angie Motshekga, asking her in her capacity as a cabinet minister to do something to help mitigate the impact of load shedding on matriculants across the country. The principal we spoke to at the school, Bernardino Heights High School here in Kraaifontein, he said that he sees firsthand how stressed the matriculants are, not only due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but now also because they have to contend with load shedding schedules, and sometimes the schedules are off, as we heard from a principal in Mitchell's Plain a little earlier, saying that when learners arrange their schedules around load shedding, oftentimes it doesn't even go off as planned, or the power only comes on a half an hour or an hour later, completely throwing off learners in their preparation for exams. Today was a big exam. It was mathematics, and we spoke to some pupils who all of them agreed the power cuts have been nearly detrimental to their exam preparation. One pupil telling us she's had to completely change her studying schedule to fit in with when the power goes out, especially at night when she's most productive. And I want you to take a listen to what Mr. Dion Wertheim from Bernardino Heights High School had to say when we asked him about the challenges that pupils are facing at the school and in this area of Kraaifontein. This is what he had to say.
These learners must prepare, and many times they have to wait till the household activities calms down, even in the community activities, so it happens late at night or in the early hours of the morning. Now you can well imagine what happens when 2 to 3 hours of that schedule is interrupted. Before they can even start their study timetable or roster, they've got to check the load shedding schedule. And in most cases, it interrupts them adversely. Then coming to the exam itself, when they arrive on the day in the exam room, now taking our situation into consideration, we have the school hall and we have 10 classes. When that lights are off, the lights are extremely dim. On a day where there's overcast or cloud cover, it diminishes the natural light coming in. Now you can well imagine, you'll be sitting with a matriculant in exam. Some of them might even have sight problems, challenges, that's compromised. They're sitting for a 2-3 hour paper, with this dim light, under this pressure, and it's a known fact. If you strain your eyes, and so there's the onset of migraines, of headaches, and so forth. And we expect these learners to perform at the peak, but the conditions are not conducive for optimal performance.
No, the conditions are certainly not conducive, but I didn't quite catch it. The principal spoke of any incidents of late coming and how they assisted in that respect. Do you know of any, Monique?
We have asked him. He said that they have they put a plan in place to mitigate that impact by asking the matriculants to come at least an hour and a half earlier. We saw it for ourselves this morning, right before the power went off in this area. Matriculants were already inside. They'd already been screened because the principal made sure that the plans that they have in place is to mitigate any impact of disruptions like this one, like load shedding. We've also asked the Western Cape Education Department if there have been any major disruptions. They said up until now, not yet, thankfully, but they also have several plans in place should there be major incidences of disruptions due to load shedding. They mentioned only one school has had big issues so far, and that was because the power went off as learners needed to get access to the computers, and this was then quickly sorted out. They were then quickly found another space or an alternative space. So the Western Cape Education Department saying they're not too concerned right now because they have several measures in place. But one thing they are concerned about is that when exams are over, the marking of those scripts and the capturing of those scripts, because they are They take place in central venues that are also susceptible to power cuts. They are concerned about how that's going to go, and but they also are preparing for any eventuality where there are blackouts during the capturing of exam marks, because they obviously want to ensure that the security around the exams, and not only the exams but the marking and the capturing of marks, is as tight as possible.
No, very understandable. Thank you very much. That's our reporter Monique Mortlock out in the Western Cape for us, interacting with the school principal there on how the rolling power cuts have in fact affected writing of matric exams. Now,